Well, again, that was far from perfect, but Ruben Amorim gets his first win as Manchester United manager, and his system is starting to come together. What I'm most pleased about tonight is, firstly, the utilisation of Rasmus Hojlund, and secondly, the level of intensity and character shown by some of the players, and certainly from the manager himself. You're starting to see he's starting to get something going with these players, and all in all, it's resulted in a victory and the first 3 points of the Ruben Amorim era. The biggest concerns for me are two things that we've spoken about a lot of times on this channel regarding Manchester United. Firstly, our lack of composure, shall we say, in front of goal when it's not Rasmus Hojlund that has the chance. And secondly, we were never safe. Right up until the final whistle of that football match, we were never really safe in the game. And that also comes from not taking chances as well. It works both ways. You score goals, you can be a little bit more ropey at the back. But when you're not consistently putting chances away and you keep conceding half chances, then you're going to get games that finish 3-2. And that's exactly what's happened here. But overall, I'm happy. I'm confident going into the game against Everton at the weekend. Am I confident that in 6 days' time, we're going to go to the Emirates and get a result against Arsenal? Absolutely not. Absolutely no way. And this is why I was disappointed that Amorim didn't take over when Ten Hag was sacked, because missing out on him for those 2 weeks, missing out on him being in charge for the two Leicester games, the away game, I can't remember all the fixtures, but we had 4 fixtures where Van Nistelrooy was in charge. I think if Amorim was in charge for those fixtures and had used that time to start embedding this system, I think we'd be in a much better place to take on Arsenal next week. But right now, from what I've seen of these opening 2 matches, we're not going to go to Arsenal and get a result. But I mean, more on that in a week's time. For now, let's concentrate on today's game, and let's talk about some players that really stood out today. Firstly, of course, Rasmus Hojlund. What a brilliant performance from him. And it's exactly what I was hoping for. I spoke about it before in terms of Viktor Gyökeres, about how many chances he's both involved in terms of creation and scoring goals. I watched him against Manchester City in that game and I went, oh my word, please say we're going to start providing Rasmus with that sort of service. And today, he didn't get that level of service, but he got a lot of service. And what did he do with it? He got 2 goals and he got an assist and was involved in creating plenty of other chances for the likes of Garnacho and Ahmad and Anthony and Rashford and Mount and whoever who just couldn't take their chances. But he was so heavily involved. I don't know how many touches he actually had. I could go and have a look. But it's certainly the most involved in a game that I've seen Rasmus been. And it all started in that first minute. We sat here at the weekend and spoke about how little running Rashford was doing. From minute 1, Rasmus was on the goalkeeper, pressuring him down, forcing the mistake. And if the goalkeeper, if Garnacho doesn't put that ball in the net, goalkeeper's getting sent off for a rugby tackle on Hojlund because he completely wipes him out. But Garnacho is the recipient of the chance and he puts the ball in the back of the net. 1-0 Manchester United. Then, unfortunately, the mistakes. And look, again, it's teething problems. The first goal is teething problems. I watched the analysis of Jamie Carragher the other night about how Amorim was getting frustrated with Casemiro not closing down players and Johnny Evans closing down players. Then you've got Robbie Savage on commentary tonight saying, why is Martinez charging out of position? Why is Bruno Fernandes so far up the pitch? Well, that is because that's what Casemiro and Johnny Evans weren't doing the other night. The problem was tonight is that when they pushed up, the covering wasn't quite right. And look, Bruno Fernandes is not a box-to-box midfielder. He is an attack-minded midfielder. So he's going to have to get used to that defensive responsibility, because I genuinely believe if you're going to see the best out of Bruno in this system, it's going to be as one of the 2 in the middle rather than one of the 2 off the front. So he needs to get used to that, and obviously he is going to take the blame for the first goal. But there are other mistakes in there as well. We gave the ball away a lot in the first half. We give the ball away on that first goal. Bodo Glimt play it around well, but Bruno lets his man go. It comes to the edge of the box, and it's an absolutely cracking finish from the Bodo Glimt player. I can't remember his name, but it's an absolutely phenomenal finish. The second goal is exactly what I'm going on about in terms of what Carragher was saying and why Johnny Evans was doing wrong. Martinez pushes up on Bodo Glimt's forward player. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Malacia is then left with Zarganidl or Ninkane or whatever his name is. He just gets burnt. He gets absolutely burnt. And unfortunately, you just have to sit here and you just feel a little bit sorry for Tyrell Malacia. It was his first actual proper match for Manchester United for nearly 2 years. I saw him play 45 minutes for the under-21s a couple of weeks ago, and he looked like he was getting back. And, it was obvious today that he wasn't quite all the way there yet. Going forward, I think he looked really dangerous. I really do. I think the positions he was taking up in that left wing-back spot, left mid spot were really good. His link-up play with Garnacho I thought was good. But on that one instance, he got absolutely burnt alive. He got rinsed. And I'm also a little bit disappointed with Onana. Everyone's going to concentrate on Martinez charging forward and Malacia getting overrun. But Onana should do better, I think. I think you think about the big Manchester United goalkeepers, your Schmeichels, your Van der Sars. They come out, they close that down, they make themselves big. Onana does not leave his goal line. It was very David De Gea-esque. He did not leave his goal line. He tried to save it with his legs. It goes through his legs. And it's 1-1. And I just think Onana could have helped his man out a little bit better there by closing that angle down a little bit sooner than he did. But that made it 2-1. And from that point onwards, there was a slight tactical change. We reverted back to a 4-back when we were out of possession, but kept the 3-4-3 when we were in possession. That then led to us being a little bit more defensively secure. And then we started creating more chances. And this is where I'm going to start talking about the other two players who stood out for me today. And that is Mazraoui and Ugarte. Two new signings into the club. Mazraoui, for me, honestly, I know I'm a Man United fan, but if you can tell me a better signing in the Premier League this season than Mazraoui, for the price we paid for him, considering how much we normally spend on transfer fees, I'll hold my hands up and say, okay, I didn't think about that person. But honestly, I genuinely believe Mazraoui is the best signing in the Premier League so far this season. He has not put a foot wrong, whether he's been at right back, whether he's been at left back, when he's been at right centre back in this new system. He has been phenomenal. His defensive play was solid today. His movement of the ball, his cross into Rasmus for that equalising goal was fantastic. And his just all-round play was brilliant. And his link-up play with Ugarte from the right centre back, right centre mid was one of the reasons why we started creating so much. And that then led through to the right forward, which was, of course, Mason Mount, who as well also played really, really well the minutes he was on the pitch. And again, the link-up play was starting to get there. Like I spoke about, in the first half, the passing, it wasn't quite the level you'd expect. Second half, especially, once we made the change to bring Dallo on at left back as well, it just started flowing a little bit better. And that's when Mount started to come a bit more alive, receiving the passes from Ugarte, receiving the passes from Bruno, linking up with Anthony. And it's the link up between Mount and Ugarte, which leads to the winning goal. Brilliant bit of skill from Mount. Ugarte on the overlap, whips it across. I'll be honest, I've seen it about 20 times. I still think he's offside, even with the lines drawn. But I'm not going to question it. Goal given. Rasmus gets another goal because yet again you're providing him service, and you give Rasmus service, he scores goals. Give him more service. And like I say, from there it was really controlling, and I thought when we made the second round of changes, and big credit for Amorim for that, one substitution at half time, 3 more substitutions in the 55th minute. He still wasn't satisfied. He still wanted more. He brought Ahmad on. He brought Rashford on for Mount, which I think was pre-planned because of the fitness thing. And he brought Luke Shaw on at left-sided centre-back as well, I'm assuming for the fitness thing as well. But he made the changes and we looked so much better. The passing level just went up a notch. The intensity just went up a notch. Rashford off the bench right now is so much more impactful than when he starts matches. Because he is lazy. We're not going to ignore the fact that Marcus Rashford is lazy. But he puts himself about when he's only on the pitch for 20 minutes. Or, 35 minutes today. But that's what he did. He was a lot more intense. Yes, he missed his chances when they came. He could have been a little bit better. But again, the link-up between him and Ahmad and Ugarte and Bruno and Rasmus, the patterns of play are starting to come together. That said, when De Ligt went off for Casemiro, it got a little bit worrying. Because Casemiro looked slow as anything. It was like when he played centre-back last season. On the ball, fantastic. Some of the passes he was playing out to Dallo and to Ahmad, even some all the way through to Rashford, Garnacho and Hojlund, were phenomenal. But when we lost the ball, Casemiro was all over the shop. And he nearly cost us a goal when, Dallo played a horrific back pass to him, it has to be said. But a proper centre-back would have dealt with that ball back. Casemiro let it go. Onana comes out of his goal. He, sits on it. He could have been sent off. I don't think it is a red card, but I will say with full honesty, he could have been sent off there. Counter-attack leads to a golden opportunity for Garnacho, who was wasteful again. I think Garnacho had a good game, but again, how many shots does Garnacho have to have when Hojlund's there, Rashford's there, Mount's there, Bruno's there? and he just keeps missing opportunities. He just needs that bit of fine-tuning. He's still young. Anyway, back to Casemiro. What he does do is probably make the best save from a defender I've seen in a long while, because that was deliberate handball, and that Bodo Glimt player was through on net. Brilliant little cheeky handball from Casemiro, but again, stems from him being out of position in the first place. I would not like to see Casemiro at centre-back again. Whatever was wrong with Lindelof and Evans for them to not be on the bench tonight, I wouldn't take that risk again. We need centre-back cover on the bench if De Ligt's going to have to go off through slight knocks and slight injuries, which is a little bit worry going into the Everton game, but I'm sure he will be fine. Other than that, like I say, it's just a little bit of a concern that we are leaking that many chances. It's a little bit of a concern that the passing isn't quite where I'd like it to be, and it's a little bit of a concern that we're not taking the chances that we're creating, be that through someone like Garnacho shooting when he should be passing, be it someone like Ahmad or Anthony today, or Dallo or whoever, not quite getting the final pass right, is also a little bit worrying. But it's only the second game in the new system. Yes, these were problems carrying over from the old coaching system as well. But there were positives out there today, which made me think, okay, we can start getting this running properly. We're going to start creating more chances. We're going to start scoring more goals. And if we can get the defensive structure right, we're going to start being more defensively solid as well. So I will take the result today. 3-2 against Bodo Glimt. It's not quite the level of result I'd have liked to have seen. I'd like to have seen a 2-0, 3-0, 3-1 sort of thing. I would like to have been a little bit more comfortable. But we play like that against Everton. I think it'll be enough to get a victory at the weekend. So let's concentrate on that for now. Let's hope the next couple of days are going to help us build and develop these relationships across the pitch even more. We're starting to get players back to full fitness as well, which is fantastic. Hopefully we'll see the likes of Mainu possibly available at some point in the Everton game as well. Everything's starting okay for Ruben Amorim. Let's see how the weekend goes, and then we'll see how much it really is going to be against Arsenal this time next week. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow morning with my next round of Premier League predictions.